और अपने एडमी का स्टेटमेंट की बात वो आपको, हाँ वो आपको करने से पहले रजिस्ट्रेशन के टाइम ऐसा कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको पर्टिकुलर टाइम पे आना है। यहाँ पे हम यहाँ हमारी वेबसाइट पे कोर्स मटेरियल अपलोड करेंगे, वो आप कभी भी दिन में कभी भी वीक में अगर अपने को आपको 5-6 घंटे फ्री है तो आप वो निकाल के वीक में एक बार बैठ के 16 वीक का ये कोर्स है और एवरी वीक में 10 मॉड्यूल अपलोड होगा, 8 मॉड्यूल और एवरी एंड ऑफ एवरी वीक देयर विल बी 6 एंड ऑफ एवरी मॉड्यूल देयर विल बी और लास्ट और एट द एंड ऑफ द short thesis kind of so bring your assignment, you will select for which the topic is, and you have to submit the project on that your evaluation will be. Yes, yes, yes.
मैं लिखता हूँ तो
नहीं ऐसा कहीं से कहीं आना नहीं है आपको, आपको घर से बैठ के आपके पास चाहिए और ये सारी सब डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। नहीं कोई भी मतलब इसका और वैलिडिटी है कि ग्रेजुएशन चाहिए हाँ जो सर्टिफिकेट the purpose behind attending this course उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है यार। आप तो आप अभी क्या करते हैं? अच्छा किसमें आपने किया मास्टर्स? मैकेनिकल। ओके तो इसकी चार दूसरी से आपको किस कोर्स में इंटरेस्ट है? सोलर एनर्जी, ये भी सोलर एनर्जी का कोर्स है। ये कोर्स करने के बाद आपको मतलब सीखने में जानने मिलेगा कि कैसे सोलर एनर्जी का एप्लीकेशन मार्केटिंग में आगे बहुत एनर्जी आईसीटी का यूज होगा और आईसीटी के यूज के लिए इलेक्ट्रिसिटी की जरूरत पड़ेगी and we have to depend on conventional energy sources. So application of solar energy would help us to substitute this, right? And that will also be considered as a sustainable development of it. So नहीं कोई ऐसा अलग सा वैसा नहीं है कि प्रोजेक्ट करने के बाद आप प्रोजेक्ट में
स्टूडेंट का नाम क्या है प्रॉपर
किया तो उसमें आपको रजिस्ट्रेशन का गारंटी कहीं पे दी नहीं कि आपको मिल जाएगी, बट इट डिपेंड्स ऑन हाउ यू and take it forward to your registration online. हाँ स्मार्ट सिटी के प्रोजेक्ट्स आगे आने वाले तो लोगों की जरूरत पड़ेगी जिनको ये सब है तो इवेंचुअली हेल्प ये अलग-अलग किस्म का ऐसा
तो मैं करूँ स्टूडेंट में लॉगिन करूँ
पासवर्ड वगैरह तो करो ना
एडमिन नहीं है बैठा जाऊँ तुम पासवर्ड में बात करो
जी आप स्टूडेंट जी यूजर नेम स्टूडेंट हाँ मैंने पासवर्ड जीटी है जी कैपिटल Thank you. G capital G2. પછી query જાવ. query જાવ તમે ટાઈપ કરી દીધું. બોલો. શું કરવાનું છે આમાં? તમને જીવન કર્યો ને એની
I know, but
તમને નડતું હતું ને?
આમાં આવ્યું કેમ નહીં કે 3 જણા
નહીં આવે. સસ્ટેનેબલ જોઈન sustainable energy of the recording પર ક્લિક કર્યું. The conference has not yet ended. શું વાત મફત?
પણ અહીંયા તો આવી ગયું છે.
ક્યાં આવે છે? હા હું પણ નીચે ની રેકોર્ડિંગ પર કોને કરે? રેકોર્ડિંગ જોઈન કેમ ના રેકોર્ડિંગ પર લીધી? The session started at 13:52. એટલે 1 વાગે 52 મિનિટે ચાલુ છે. There are 2 moderators and join session. क्वेश्चन करो तुमने ये.
हाँ तुम राइट करो तो भी हमें 3 ना आई यार क्या मिले रिफ्रेश
ट्राई ये डाउनलोड ज्वाइन था. तुम्हारे के काम करो तो नंबर हमारा ऑडियो राइट है हाँ म्यूट कर एडमिन यूजर कन्वर्सेशन हाँ बाय हाँ action now. Variety. Situation plan. Action plan should be defined. Demonstration purpose 18.
सर म्यूजिक सर मैसेज कर
देखा how do you want to join the audio join the channel मैं हम देख रहे हैं चेतन कुमार जी ला
Hello. हाँ, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, all professors. We are very delightful to have you here for participating and share your thoughts on sustainable energy option, which is under the research group Water Security, Climate Change and Sustainable Energy. As we all know that today our greatest threat is that someone else will wait. So let us join together and save our planet. Today we have our speaker, Dr. Chetan Kumar J. Light sir. He is director at Naranlala School of Industrial Management and Computer Science, MBA Nursery. So I would like to sincerely thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and deliver your thought before us today. So welcome, sir. Please join us in giving a very warm welcome to you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Good afternoon, all of us. Am I audible to all the participants? Good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. So, shall we start now?
Yes, sir. We can start now.
Okay. So, I have been given a task to explain on sustainable energy option. It is a very general particular topic. So, what I had done, I had tried to customize it with respect to our country. So, energy is a basic necessity nowadays in our day-to-day life as well as in every commercial and industrial activity. So, we need to think on and since if not, then what can be done? It is very observant from the latest happening in Beijing. All the activities all of a sudden stop even though they are having energy with pollution. And again, we had a deferred cycle event. So, if you are not looking consumption of the energy in a longer perspective, then might be short and we might like problems, and it's a starting. So, we have an alarm signal for we need to take action or proactive action from right now. Now, that is understandable. Sustainable development as per the United Nations definition, it's the development that meets the need of without compromising the ability of civilization to meet their own needs. Now, if you look at our current consumption of the energy, whether primary electricity or any other kind of form of the energy, we are not having that much reason in utilizing those particular energy, and that is why major imbalances have occurred. There are few countries who utilizes energy in a very large chunk and quantity, and then there are some countries like us who are always starving for the energy and have a development, a particular hunger with them. There are underdeveloped countries who are need energy to sustain their life, and to go to this clarity, it might be the indirect result of the social crime, terrorism, and etc. So the purview is very big. My point is that sustainable development, if we are thinking on that, if we have to not compromise the future requirements, then we need to focus on three bases. That is social. It means sabka saath, we may say that to take all together and inculcate the humanity, and then environment, because we have to give our generations a clean atmosphere to breathe in, clean water to drink, and nutrients to eat on, and then to be strong and deliver furthermore. And in that way, we can continue our generation next, and that in that way, it can be. And likewise, economy, lifestyle. So these are the three basic pillars. And if we are not balancing on all of those three, then Beijing is the latest. Recently, even though it was a very significant police exercise in Delhi, that odd even kind of things, it is just because of not proper thought particular concept, and pollution is becomes a bigger issue. Likewise for the in Lucknow, likewise in Mumbai, and there are many parts where we are finding this kind of curb it immediately. Likewise, we can see in last week there is a flood that has been observed in last month, in Chennai, in last week in Britain, and yesterday we had also heavy flood in certain areas of the United States of America. and it becomes a regular part of those things. These all are just because we have not been balanced in utilizing the energy. So that is why we need to think on consuming utilizing energy, and the concept is called sustainable energy. So why it is required? So the Ban Ki-moon of the United States says that energy is the golden thread that connects economic growth, increased social equity, and an environment that allows the world to thrive. And by solving it, these are a better place to live in. And basically, energy can contribute to the four major particular dimensions. That is the job creation and that economical well-being of individuals, family, society, and nation at large. And economic development, as I had said. Then there are the concerns for that also. Energy requirement and full empowerment of the woman, because if the gender is unfair, then probably we are not going to produce strong society in coming area. So energy is a basic means in all those things. That is why we need to focus. Realize those things very early, at least 3-4 decades back. Then they had one convention at Rio, where they had Millennium Development 8 goals. After that, I think that still the scope is not completely covered, and then they had identified 17 different sustainable development. The whole world has, there should be no poverty, there should be zero hunger, a good health, and quality education so that you can develop your mental abilities and stature, gender equality, so equity can be given among the society, so the gender bias can be removed. Then clean water and sanitation for the health and hygiene sectors. Likewise, economical growth, innovations, and infrastructure for sustainable production with minimum harm to the environment, water, air, and earth. Likewise, life underwater, above earth, in the air, climate, all these things should be protected. 17 different goals has been identified, sustainable development goals. And if we look at that, energy utilization has direct relevance. So that is why while we are utilizing energy, whether in our moped or we are using it to cook the food or for lighting or heating or cooling purpose, we need to be rational, we need to be vigilant. Now let us have a look at a brief scenario, what is suffering today. So almost dwelling 80% of population and using only 6% of the world's primary energy. Now it's something surprising that the more we generate, more we consume the energy, more pollution and ultimately catastrophe. But to have a better lifestyle, to have a good education and to create ample opportunities, we need to increase energy consumption. Today, we are utilizing only 6% of the world primary energy, and we are accounting for almost 20% of total world population. So in that way, we are miserable on those particular things. And we have to have a good lifestyle, and we have to increase our energy usage. Now, with this 6% of world primary energy, almost 240 million people are without access to the electricity. So they are not having light in their dwelling, and they don't have fans for the cooling, and so many basic amenities they are missing due to lack of the electricity. But there might be geographical regions, poverty, and other issues. And in India, the people who are not having electricity, the 6 states who are in ranking in the top 6 are Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Odisha. They are having many not having electricity, so that child's education, even the will not be available. So their life is miserable, and almost they are living in a pitiable situation. So now we need to focus on that. How to those 240 million who are not having those access to those particular electricity. Again, now the people are having electricity access. Again, in that we had a deficit of 10% in normal demand and 17% in peak demand. So that is again, so it might be possible whenever we require the electricity more, it is not available due to staggering or breakdown or any other issue. So we need to focus on these are the burning issues. Moreover, 1.3 billion, 30%, that is roughly 40-45 crores of the relying heavily on biomass or on cow dung, cake, and all those primary energy sources. They are having the LPGs, and that is why the women particularly who are responsible to cook a food for the family and the society, they have to suffer air pollution contributes their respiratory disease and life will reduce drastically. So we have to make sure the Prime Minister has started an initiative to give up the subsidy and this particular percentage. But again, the drive is one of the steps of many which we require. So one might say, okay, fine, then LPG electricity, that will take some time. Why we are not using coal? But if you look at reserves India or our country is having, we had a coal reserve which can last for 40 years. So what will be after 40 years? So if we are not planning from today, then it may happen after 40 years we are in. So that is why plan properly while utilizing our while we are planning for the expansion of every economical activity of the thing. Again, whatever the generation we are having in our country, electricity generation particularly, 70% of the generation is probably in the coal. And if you look at the efficiency of the thermal power plant using the coal, they are rounding 30-35% overall particular efficiency. And issues and many issues, environmental issues particularly. So if we are looking at the three dimensions of the sustainable development, that is environment, economy, and social, and we are almost not able to give a priority on those three dimensions. So purely if we are relying on electricity generation, fulfilling our energy needs purely based on the coal, then we are doing a mistake. It becomes clear, and that is why again, due to limited resources, largest import of the crude oil. So to meet with the other transport sector's requirement and other industry requirement. So again, when we are importing something, then we have to pay them in a foreign exchange, and it becomes very dear to the nation. And in that way, it's a costly affair. So we have to import to fulfill our energy requirements. So these are the forces of our scenario which may compel us to think for the sustainable usage. Although due to some higher efficiency in refineries, we are also doing very good in refining sector, but very few petroleum products which we are seeing an earning revenue. Otherwise, more or less we are paying to fulfill our requirements. Look at the per capita consumption of the India in, with compared to other major part of the world. Okay, there are three parts. There are developed country, developing, and underdeveloped. We are among the developing countries, and if we can see, then our per capita energy consumption is lowest, and it is almost 6 times or 7 times lesser than what US people consume, and hence it is a clear indication that we are not having proper industrial development of the product. So obviously, if we want to develop our country to increase our GDP, then obviously it has been predicted that we have to increase energy consumption. Even China is more than cover of what we are consuming today. Africa is at par with our consumption. So obviously, to fulfill or to have a better lifestyle and to produce higher side on industrial production, we have to increase energy consumption. Even though with the lowest per capita energy consumption, that was the average, and it was approximately 7 ton per capita. It was the average. In that also we are having that 1600 kilowatt per hour capacity. So we can imagine we had a segment. So one segment is having full-fledged access to the primary as well as the electricity, while there are states like Bihar in where even the people are not having enough energy. They are far below than Indian average. World average is far higher than what we are consuming as the India in average electricity ground. the world average is roughly 950 kilowatt per capita, while we are consuming our average, national average is 200, and only few states are utilizing more than Indian average. Rest of all are having less than electricity per capita consumption. So obviously, if we want to educate our people, we want to increase our health and maternity and all those things, then those electricity and energy consumption are going to be arise. Now, then question arises why we are thinking so much. So what is the, as we had said that if we are burning more oil, tons of carbon dioxide emitted in the environment will be very high. This is one chart of one of the research papers of University of Wisconsin, and in that it becomes clear that if we are burning a coal, then gigawatt hour production, 1,041% has been emitted into the environment, and natural gas advantage of the future, and still we require to fulfill our development needs. And definitely from this study it becomes clear that reliance on coal and natural gas has to be minimized or rather eliminated. So obviously we left with another option, that is we have to increase energy consumption on the basis of biomass, solar, hydro, nuclear, geothermal, wind, and non-conventional sources. So it's an indication that we require to resource. Now let us look at that. That is what the per gigawatt carbon emission, and what is our current pattern of the consumption in India. In 2018, the percentage of oil was 23%, coal is the maximum 44%, and then renewable is 26%. And then our energy portfolio is supposed to be increased by 4-fold. And if we reach it, if we can predict with the normal growth rate, that is 7 GDP or whatever, then in 2040, the oil portfolio is almost same. Coal is again same, but due to increased demand, it requires a heavy investment to increase the portfolio of renewables. It will reach 16%. So we need to work over here, and because at the end of the day, that the fossil fuel will be accountable for 81% of the total energy need. It means we are emitting times or even more than that into the environment to fulfill our energy, the current growth rate expectation. So clearly it's an alarming sign, and it is not sustainable. So within 5 to 10 years, it might possible. China only being, or 2-3 cities are facing the problem. It might possible in India, almost in every city, we have to stop our economical activity. So to avoid that, we need to balance our energy portfolio. Now, have a look what is the consumption pattern of energy in different sectors. In 2013, again, the two major sector emerged, that is industry and building. Agriculture accounting for first, for the 2040, then industry development has been expected much more, and it will account for 55% of the energy consumption. And the second largest is the building, because there is a migration from the villages to the city, and also population rise will give a boost to this particular thing. And then transport sector will accounting for 22% of the total energy need. And if we see at the consumption, then from 263 metric ton of oil equivalent, it will be double in 185 metric ton of oil equivalent. It will be increased by 3-fold by 2040. Likewise, in transport sector, it is supposed to be increased by 4-fold. In building, it remains almost same, and in agriculture, we are just having a 100% rise in consumption pattern. Now, being in India, it's agriculture. It seems that we are doing very big mistake while we are deciding the policy. So the higher energy amount should be given to agricultural production improvement. just 100% hesitant because we are more customized with increasing industry production to have that particular thing. So it means for the longer thing of the energy usage, we need to focus on sectors. First is the industry, second is the transport, and third is the construction. We are talking about the primary energy. Now let's have a look at electricity because why electricity has been preferred for many applications, because it can be converted in more. It can be used for heating, it can be used for cooling, it can be used for motion or any industrial process. In that also, if you see, then the chart says that industry will require 1277 trillion watts per hour, and then second largest refrigeration, cooling, and washing machine and water for not other applications. It will be 1115 watts per hour. So in that way, so if you are concerned about the power generation, then we had three major sectors: industry, residential, service, and finally agriculture. So while we are considering the energy, we have to consider the application for the requirement of these four sectors by and large. So if we have not to for the benefit to the future generation, then we are now having very limited options. So we had three options to have a sustainable energy pattern. First, we can have production efficiency, or we may identify a cheaper source of supply, like some emphasize from a new mine or new technology by which the primary energy cost can be brought. But again, the requirement is so large that we can't rely upon that. Now, second option is that instead of conventional energy, that is coal and oil, we should shift to renewable energy, because nuclear is not preferable. We had seen just 2 years back in Japan, there was a leakage in Fukushima, and there are several radiation hazards has been observed in seawater and on the species on Earth also. So, although they have been considered clean, but looking at the disaster, if we had an option, then we should rely on the renewable energy portfolio distribution. So in that, we have to capitalize on different sources like wind, hydro, solar, geothermal, and tidal wave mostly. And there are some renewable energy also available, but India's geography doesn't hold that. And third option, which may compel us to look to improve it and improve our internal efficiency of the operation by increasing energy efficiency, by re-engineering the thing so that energy usage can be brought down, either by using technology or there are behavioral practices. If we can change our behavior, then definitely measure to 15% of the energy can be saved. So first option, that is improving upon in-house and cheaper source of supply, had very limited options, and again in the longer run they are not seems to be very valid, even though we are currently fulfilling our requirement of the same thing. But if you are looking at the future, then it's another strategic option, because altogether we have changed the technology of the production of the power, and it becomes costly. It could be very large, and economic investment is very low, so no private people will not invest that, and it was very overwhelming, so it might be not a feasible option also. But the second option, that is to reshuffle our energy basket and increasing the larger share of the renewable energy, that is feasible. Now, what do we mean by renewable energy? Renewable energy, it's any sustainable energy source that comes from the environment, and these are the kind of energy which appears in every season. They are like biomass, hydro, wind. So why they require? So the reason are obvious. There are power shortage. We had 10% of the demand shortage, 70% of the peak demand shortage in electricity, and that is why there is a scope for the renewable energy in India. The rising prices of oil and gas is fortunately in the last 18 months had a very fast decline in oil prices. Otherwise, whenever if $1 per barrel has been increased, 1 rupees per petrol per liter has been, so it becomes very heavy on the economy of the individual, family, as well as the society. But further, again, we are not we for how long these lower prices will be going on. So suppose in the longer run, if again they are going to be increased, then we have to think on other alternatives. So we have to reduce our dependency on import so that we can save our foreign reserves. Then ecological hazard, obviously renewable don't have, they have very lesser economical hazard, conventional energy sources, and then the sites are available and in the pattern of utilizing renewable energy such that it can be distributed to the remote area, to the mountain area, or say. So we not required to build up a grid and centralize all those things. Rather, decentralized and autonomous kind of energy systems can be feasible with that. And government is also key for well-being of the society, and certain incentive has been provided. So nowadays the scope has been improved, and financing options are also the institutes are coming to project to finance the project which has a better utilization of the renewable energy. Again, as I had said, we may utilize it in a localized area. If you are utilizing renewable energy, it will be cost effective because transmission capacity is not. And hence distribution losses, because distribution lines are so small, they are technical and otherwise they are very, and fuel cost is eliminated because it's almost at a free of cost. The fuel, the renewable energy required operational maintenance technology which can harness those renewable energy, and it may boost the rural energy because most of the sites has been in a remote area, and likewise it will encourage self-help group and self-dependence. It will enable also village cooperatives to supply and or monitor the. So it seems that renewable energy is a very lucrative and effective option, but then again, every coin has two sides. The technology, the efficient technology, to harness those particular technologies not available with ample energy demand. Again, technical know-how, transfer of technologies are the issues. So there are certain issues which I had highlighted while we are considering on option number 2, that is reshuffling of the renewable energy portfolio in our energy basket. That again, the renewable energy, it depends on particular wave. Like wind may have their signal particular pattern. Likewise, tide has their own fixed time. Production can be start from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. only, and afterward we don't have enough of the solar radiation power generation will be distributed. And if we look at our peak demand, then 9 to in morning we require maximum, and likewise in night when we are together with family, then we are enjoying only maximum gadgets which utilizing electricity are on. So at that time maybe the wind can be feasible, but again we can't ensure wind velocity, and these are the certain issues and challenges. So we require to innovate a technology which can even work at the lower intensity or the lower wind speed. So that is the issue, and which we need. Then there are due to those geographical difficulties, we don't have transmission and distribution lines to thousands of the villages, and that is why we need to take care of this. The remote locations are too expensive to create an electricity line or to supply the generators and distributors, and to create a feeder or build up and facilities at a remote place. It becomes too expensive, and that is why people are running away from the renewables. So it is the biggest challenge. If we can find out the solution, it may give us a return. Lack of operational maintenance, existing infrastructure due to lack of skilled people, and their treatment and skill development. Financial resources are also limited. Technology transfer agreement has been done with various countries, but And then again, there is no uniform regulation and technical standards. So different states have their own interpretation, and that is why there is a queue. So that makes it difficult to implement renewable energy portfolio in March state. But still, we good. So let us look at our existing capacity. That is on January 31st of 2014. The installed capacity of wind is 20 gigawatts, solar is 2.2 gigawatts, small hydropower, all others you can see 3 gigawatts. But again, if we are talking about the hydropower, it's mainly the range and monsoon season. If it's great, then we can have a better generation. So more or less, they are the environmental factors which are in our control, and hence we can't regularly. Biomass and power gasification. Now here a very large scope, but unfortunately we lack the technology which utilize it efficiently. We only have 1 gigawatt of the capacity production. Likewise, bagasse has a 2.5 gigawatt. Waste to only 99 megawatt. It is just in the initial phase. So clearly, very large gap has been observed. We need to have a leap jump energy demand in 2020 or in 2014. So one of the research papers is that, and our Indian reserve says that we had only coal which can last up to 40 to 50 years. But even if we are relying on it, and somehow we had enough good treaties with the foreign countries, then the year of 2020, the fossil fuel will face a several decline. So, and again, nuclear has a limited role, up to maximum up to say 1,000 trillion watt per hour. And the basic need of India, that is up to 7,000 trillion watt. If you are looking beyond the century, that is at the end of 2200, at the year of that, we are supposed to be heavily on renewable energy. So that is the only option, also viable option left to be had. But due to technology and all those difficulties which we had discussed earlier, practicability or simplification is questionable. Now let's have a look at the potential of those renewable energy in different states on Indian map. And we can see that the biomass has the maximum potential, and we had a very less utilization due to technology and not know how 0.45, and it is almost 4 or 5% of the total potential has been utilized. If we can focus on that, then a major segment of our energy need can be justified. Then the small hydropower, they are doing good, but again, as I had said, they are heavily monsoon season, so it will up for that much. And wind again, if we can identify technology, then, and in wind application, they have to be focused on remote island, and we have to build a distribution line. So these are the major issues. Otherwise, we had a very good potential for the renewable energy to fulfill our indigenous energy demand for all the purpose, industry, commercial, everywhere. The signal that timing can somehow manage the demand supply, DSM, and probably this is the most viable solution coming. And likewise, if we see the solar radiation in India, it's so fantastic. Even if we can utilize 5 to 10% of the solar radiation available across the country, then we need not to rely on other source. So, except region and in Burmese particular some territory, we had enough radiation of the solar, and India is fortunate to have the solar day for more than 300 or 330 days. So, and again, in solar technology, we can have a system which can to individual requirement to the government, and at a mass scale also it is possible. The example is the kitchen run steady. So the technology is available. Only thing is cost. And again, what we have talked about is regarding grid connected power system. And if we have to talk the off-grid power system where those distribution line is not feasible at all, then waste to energy and solar are the best options, and the government of India is doing a remarkable job in that, and Jawaharlal Nehru and other schemes has been launched for the renewable energy ministry, and we are hopeful to have it again. We need to work hard. So, what proposed action plan for the option 2, that is to reshuffle the renewable energy portfolio. So, we have to invest in renewable energy. Now, who will invest? Obviously, the industry or the private firm. So, for that, government of India is required to declare an incentive for the very good and some sponsors is required. We can enact a national renewable energy cell 20% of the total production by 2020, and in that way we may increase slowly. By the end of we may have enough contribution of renewable energy to fulfill our energy demand. Likewise, ambiguity in power purchase agreement and feed-in tariff, different states have different and all those things, which reduces the credibility, because to have a mass-scale renewable energy project is to investment, and if there is no surety, then people will run away from that, and purpose will adversely affected. And decentralized energy policy, that is rooftop solar policy, can be implemented. Solar generation on a large-scale utility can be started on photovoltaic, on concentrated solar and concentrated photovoltaic activity, and wind farm cooperatives can be invited, and we can do at a large own energy demand. In short, we can give a bird to them, and as we have seen that the nature of renewable energy sources is that they can very suitable for decentralized or localized distribution of energy usage. So we have to work on distribution from different angles. So now we have to build up a smart and microgrid as well as smart meters. So if I had installed my rooftop solar policy, and on a day my rooftop will produce energy and it will be given to the grid, and in night I may utilize the power only those fueling charges can be compensated from the consumer, and that motivates the individual to use those things. And the biggest limitation with the electricity, they can't be stored, but if we can identify certain kind of mechanism, then probably address the issue on a larger extent. And for that, to have a thermal energy storage, solar is a reliable source on concentrated solar power as well as on photovoltaic. That uses molten or mixture of sodium nitrate and potassium. In there, they will store the solar energy in a form of heat, and in night again it will be converted for the industrial or commercial or individual purpose, whatever, lighting, heating, cooling. And lead acid and those batteries. In street light, we may utilize those things. Compressed air, gas energy storage, and electrical vehicles for the emission and other issues can be removed. Pump hydro, so reservoir will generate the again those water which have been drained into the reservoir. They will be pumped by using solar energy. In that way, energy is stored. Fuel cell, flywheel storage, but the efficiency is again flexible, and the scale up to which flywheel storage can be is again a very big question. Technical feasibility, innovation is required in that particular thing. Superconducting magnetic energy storage. So we are having a great site on that. There are a few sites where this kind of energy can be utilized, and supercapacitors. So these are the storage options to have a sustainable energy option. So in day, required to store the energy in other forms, and in night when we require, converting those energy forms into the required one, and in that we can reduce our conventional energy usage, that is coal, oil, and petroleum products, and slowly improve our environment, air, water, and earth. Now, out of all those options, that is commerce and all those things, it seems that solar is if you look at the longer range, then solar becomes, in initial it is costly, but as innovations and R&D will be proceed after 2020, the cheapest source compared to nuclear as well as coal. So if power generation will cost you $0.129, while the solar will cost you only $0.07. So in that way, it is very much cheaper. Again, the nuclear plant will take almost decade to build a site and make it operational. While within a year, the solar plant can be. And we had a desert. That land is not useful for the agriculture or the dwelling purpose. So there we can install the solar energy and we can fulfill our demand. Likewise, the coal may cost you in 2020 $0.109. Again, the solar cost and the innovation, the break-even efficiency, it will be $0.07 only. So in other way out, on the instant also, the solar is demand. And we are receiving almost 5,000 trillion kilos per hour. And in India, we had a 4 to 7 watt-hour per square meter capacity. And out of 365 days, most of the days we had sunny days, so that this can be effectively except certain areas of north. Otherwise, everywhere in India, we may major applications of energy can be fulfilled with the solar. So it has been researched that India 1,000 gigawatts of solar is just 0.5% of its land. So in that way, also it becomes the only thing is financial constraint and the technology availability of those. So in that way, solar appears as a base option. So as we have said, the options can be designed in three ways. First step, these are the energy resources and utilization of that but where is been left over there. Second, to resources the basket, that is replacing a traditional with renewable one. It becomes quite effective and practically also it becomes feasible. Only thing is that we require to design and frame a right policies, and we have to work on implementation perspective. So if we can do that, probably after 2020 we will self-sufficient on energy needs. So what are the recommendations in nutshell? So that we will national policy 20% of the renewable energy basket by 20, and then later on every 5 years we have to increase that 5 to 10%. Then feed-in tariff and power purchase agreements ambiguity across the state in all stations will move. The renewable energy ministry is doing the particular perspective, but when there is a vested interest of different states, but will build up. Another incentive on renewable, particularly establish solar parks and solar cities in 3, 4, 5 cities. It becomes operational now, and people can see this kind of projects. So future investment will come. We are hopeful for that. Efficient market-based financial mechanism to attract the foreign investment because it requires investment. Establish R&D facility at academic research institutions and civil society to guide the technology development. So these are the major recommendations to build a sustainable, renewable, and fulfill individual demand. Now, third option. I am doing good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Otherwise, the silence is the wrong signal. Okay, anyway. The third option is to have a sustainable energy for India, and that is look introvert. Let us check on the pattern which are utilizing our energy or say, the behavior. And it might be seen that okay, there are many times of bias, or such attitude has been built up that I am the best in that and nobody can teach me. Due to this, many times it becomes possible we are losing to save the energy. And research has been conducted, and out of that it has been observed that at least 15 to 20% energy saving or efficiency is possible on technology front. So that is if we can design a proper parameter, if we can have a proper feedback on timely, then at least 15% is possible. Likewise, another 10% energy saving will be possible by no cost or low cost energy implementation practices. The Bureau of Energy Efficiency is doing very wonderful things, and they have identified the various practices which require no cost, just awareness, and you implement it by yourself regularly, and you will have a saving in your energy. Now, it has to be given most emphasis on that, because we had a very long transmission and distribution lines, and which can be from generating house from primary energy to the end usage. If we look at 50 to 60% of the energy has been lost as a T&D losses or say equipment loss. So it has been saying in electrical energy that if 1 unit of energy has been saved, it is equivalent to 2 units of. So there is an scope in that also. So we need to work on that, on energy efficiency. So we require to check on our process. We have to check whether is there any process or activities we have, otherwise we can save the energy, or we can add a value and pollution can be bring down. So there are ample scopes, but it has been most of the time overlooked. By 5-10 years, the awareness has been slowly increasing due to the efforts of Ministry of Power and DE. The research conducted by them and many other of the CARI and other institutes, the barriers found in implementing energy efficiencies are awareness, because people doesn't know. Likewise, it has stopping at crossroads, then if we can, then we can save 10% of the average energy increase. So many times due to unawareness, it becomes on and the energy has consumed, and in addition, environment. Again, lack of motivation for saving. So what is there for me if I will implement those new practices? Because in fact, who are the industries, the major users, also the transport industry, who are using the energy at a large. So they all are the employees just in their salary. So why will raise their average, fuel average, or why they have to save the fuel? So what is there for that? So if there will be motivation kind of incentive, if you can have a fuel average on this particular vehicle and the amount. So in that way, those behaviors can be cultivated and energy efficiency can be improved. But this is a barrier. It's lack of motivation. And then lack of infrastructure support, like availability of solar and other. Now, due to robust policies, it will be addressed in near future. Bias and belief regarding adoption of energy saving practices. ये तो हमारे लिए नहीं है. We know each and everything. तो बहुत बड़ी IUCEE वाली कंपनी के लिए होती है. So this kind of biases could be removed. Energy is a national property, and everybody should try to save it. Although we have our requirement, we have to fulfill it, but we have to reduce the wastage. Non-availability of energy efficient technology and knowledge transfer for energy efficiency due to various agreements with the country and others. Now these things will be more or less addressed in the next decade. And communication mechanism is again a very big issue. Even though we have started various competitions, but still it's not possible to reach at the and segment of the society. So these are the barriers of energy efficiency. Otherwise, a clear scope of 30% improvement in reducing energy demand. So how we can overcome the barriers? Again, there was one phenomenon that suppose if I had buy a new car and my old car is 12 km per liter, and if my new car there is a CR hybrid giving me 20 km per liter, what I will do then? I will have a supply. Okay, now I had a more efficient car, so I will drive more. So ultimately, then no vigilante effect has been observed. As my car is very efficient, I will do more. So this is what called a rebound effect. So that thing has to be taken care while we are fixing the price of the fuel, or while we are motivating energy consumption pattern. It has to be taken care of so that it becomes a very for every citizen while they are utilizing energy that is precious. We need to utilize it with the cost. And likewise, energy intensity, lower energy intensity. If my energy bill is very low, then even if you are increasing price, it doesn't matter, and I will risk that one. Education and awareness is the last resort to improve upon those kind of things. So this is the remedy, and we have to invite everybody out to business, how commercial people, so that they become aware. Accordingly, they may improve upon an energy efficiency. So these are the recommendations. Basically, to communicate properly, clearly, improvise upon a mechanism, reduce the demand. In that way, we may curtail the demand at least by 30%, 10 to 15% by improvising our behavior, and 10 to 15% by modernization and implementing a new technology. So, 30% was the target emission. Another option or another way left out is to improve the energy efficiency, to fix the target. Then what's the bit by IUCEE, whatever the emission level in 2012 should be reduced by 30% by 21-22. So this is the target, and it is easily based on research. It has been observed. It is easily achievable. So what we are supposed to do? We have to reduce our technical losses, which is currently 16% to 98% and 12%. Currently, we are somewhere around 13-14%. So we are very near to the achievement of the target in terms of with the advancement of the transmission and distribution switch gear. It will be feasible. Then achieving energy of around 20% by 2020 in industry sector, as we had discussed, either by re-engineering or by behavioral modification. The improvising or innovating existing technology to produce the same good. Improvising the average efficiency of vehicle by 15 by good driving behavior, like checking tire pressure or say regular mechanical, then speed range, and there are many mechanisms, but it has not been observed. So now we have to build up which will ensure it will be observed. So 15% of the energy demand in transport sector can be reduced. It is feasible. And likewise, due to multifold increase in vehicles, our income arise. So public transport has been given a least priority. So we require to do work. And if we can set target by 2020, 70% of the passengers will be covered by the mass transit system, then it will reduce energy demand. In Ahmedabad, it has started these practices, but it should not be a symbolic. It should be a regular habit. And then large segment of society, because it's redoing, then automatically the citizen will also accompany them, and in 2, 3, or 5 years down the line, we will observe very well. Likewise, refrigerator can be, the 7% in refrigeration can be achieved, or more than that even. If we can switch off the freeze in night time, then at least 10 to 12% of the energy can be possible. And your food, because it's closed for whole the night, food will be preserved as it is, and we will save energy on that perspective. Likewise, air conditioning, energy efficiency of 25% is possible by setting that temperature range, and nowadays we had a 5-star, 3-star technology available. So, first major target the dairy has had for India to reduce 30% of the emission and by 20% by 20. Larger perspective by the 2040, if we are utilizing, that is the studded line, closed line efficiency policies, and implement it in a right perspective, then for the buildings we are in a position to save at least 260 trillion watt per hour. That's a very wonderful figure. And in industry, it is feasible to save 2000 trillion watt per hour for industry. The demand has been projected with the normal scenario. Likewise, in agriculture productivity, there is possibility of reducing the pumping requirement 50 trillion watt per hour. So indicators are clearly visible. There are the biases and some behavioral modifications required. Otherwise, by focusing on efficiency, we may reduce our energy demand at least 20 to 25%. It is feasible. but then it required awareness, knowledge transfer on a sustainable basis. So that was the third energy option available to India. So if we look at holistic perspective, that is, we have to ensure dimension: socially viable, not vulnerable; viable environment, not vulnerable; and economical environment, affordable and acceptable to our future generations. We had a three options, that is acquisition of the raw material at the cheap prices and production with a higher efficiency. Then resupplying, the second option was the resupplying renewable portfolio, so that we can reach the even remote areas and major energy can be fulfilled by the utilizing the renewable energy, and those import costs can be bring down. And third, by improvising our internal production efficiency, that 25 to 30% demand. If we look at the holistical on this dimension, to have a sustainable energy option, which we can, it means we are giving enough resource which we are having today to our next generation. That is in 40. We need to focus on 11 areas so that sustainable energy is possible for all. Then there are certain areas where we have to take a plan or study of policies. So there are 7 external areas. So they are the modern cooking appliances and fuel, because 25 to 30% of fuel is being utilized for that. So efficient cooking stoves, then solar cookers. These are the options which may reduce your reliance on all of the other moods and all those things. The environment will also be reduced, and energy demand can to the that will also be reduced. Large scale renewable power we have to purchase, and we have to deal with the third area, that is called distributed electricity solutions, because renewable energy, mostly the wind energy or tidal energy, can be harnessed on a seashore or say on a peak of the mountain. So that requires distributed electricity solutions so that local electricity demand can be fulfilled from those particular sources. Then we have to build up a green infrastructure and supply efficiency, smart metering and all those things can add a huge impact. And then comes the industrial and agricultural process, because they are the backbone of our economy. So we can here redesign the processes and value addition so that productivity can do. Transportation, because nowadays village, the globe becomes a village, and our production has been utilized by the foreign nationals. Likewise, we are utilizing the transportation is going to be expand like anything. So we need to work on that. Square meter usage, per ton fuel average, maintenance cost, and everything has to be taken care of in those areas. Building an appliance so that enough light and air flow can be managed. In that way, we may reduce our lighting, heating, and cooling requirement of the building, as well as the expenses, and to make sure all those concerning those 7 areas. So we need to work rigorously on energy planning. And we have to build up a business model and technology innovation so that foreign investors as well as our business can heavily invest in that, and in that way we make India a better place to live. Finance and risk management to calculate the entrepreneurship and all those things, and capacity building and knowledge sharing for behavioral modification to gain energy efficiency. So in that way, we have seen the 3 dimensions of renewable energy options for India.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind support and the facts and figures which you have shared. It's really eye-opening. And we will take your contributions and very much details to share with people. So now we will forward this.
not clear. Can you type it?